Guys, so I got the new charger and it works. So so basically it was probably the old charger was the problem. Though funny enough, when I got the charger, it was actually making a lot of there was some noise on the inside of it, so I'm like, okay, not again. Maybe the old, no, so let me get up to, so what am I gonna do now? So I'm getting up to 50 miles per hour. So I'm gonna run the test again with this new charger, and this charger is a 240 watt charger, and it's 72 volts, or it's designed for 72 volts. So it's not what I did before where I had to combine two 36 volt chargers. So it's a 72 volt 3 amp charger producing 240 volts, a little over hopefully a little over 240 volts or watts of power. I'm going to run, just right now, I'm just going to run the actual motor test with the generator. Though the wind is actually a little bit different today than it was the other day. So if the results are substantially different, then I might run the control test again. And the control test is where I'm just running it with the electric, just to get a sense of what the consumption. I'm not sure if it's that different though. It feels really close to the other day in terms of just the temperature, and though I think it's a little bit more windy than the other time when I did the control. So we'll see. So I'm gonna run a 15 mile, a 20 mile, which is what I did before, and now also a 25 mile per hour test. And trying to keep this, those consistent speeds. When I do the 20 mile and also the 25 mile one, I might slow down on some of these corners, as I mentioned before, because especially the one where there could be a lot of traffic. Yeah, I don't want to go too fast in those corners, because while it's not bad to have it in terms of the handling, it's not that different. It is a little bit heavier, and I don't want to run into a situation where I have to brake really hard. Anyway, yeah, there's actually, I really don't want to run those control tests again. The wind is a little bit stronger today than it was the other day. Well, I guess we'll see what the results are, and then we'll determine. And then from that we'll determine, because we know it's producing 240 watts of power, and to go 15 miles per hour, it takes around 300. It takes around 300 watts to do something like that. So and also when I plugged it in, you could feel the engine really, the generator really kicking into gear versus, it just feels a little bit louder than when I had the other generator. And I suspect that's because, obviously it's a little bit, it's 84 more volts, I keep saying volts, 84 watts of power required than before. So now we're at 240, and that's about a third of the capacity of this, a third capacity of the generator, versus before we were at like at 20%. I say a lot, but yeah. So I'm gonna run the test 3 miles each. I'll record each one, and I might speed up. Yeah, I might speed up the. So this 15 mile per hour one, I might speed that up. Oops, now I've been going 15. I dropped down to 14 a little bit. So here is just no traffic. That's great. So, and the other thing is, so yeah, you don't want to watch all this riding, this random riding around in a circle. Just to recap, this is a 1 mile circuit, pretty flat in terms of there's really no elevation gain, but there is more wind now than before. So, but I guess the wind should both benefit and be both a benefit and a disadvantage, right? Like when I have a tailwind, it should be consuming a lot less power than when I have a headwind. But I don't know. I actually don't think it works like that. But anyway, what's I saying? Yeah. So if you don't want to watch all this random riding and just talking, feel free to go to the end of near the end of the video where I show all the results. And in terms of the results, what I was thinking about was what exactly is and maybe I'll go over a little bit. What exactly is the end goal of this entire system of these tests? Like, what exactly do I want to accomplish? And the numbers you throw out can be pretty arbitrary, but for me, I think the end, like, maybe it'll be different for other people, but I think for me, the end result will be something like, I need to speed up here, will be something like, from a full battery and a full gas tank, obviously. The gas tank don't really matter because that's kind of the point of the hybrid. From a full battery, I should be able to, at my max charging options, I should be able to go 22 to 25, let's just say, I should be able to go, let's just be a little bit more conservative, let's just say 20 miles per hour for 100 miles, no pedaling. Obviously you'll have either your hills, or 100 miles on a flat course like that, no hills, no wind, just 100 miles on a full charge at 20 miles per hour. I think that's kind of the goal. And so how is that gonna happen? Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Did I? No, yeah, I did. Okay, I did reset the battery, right? The watt meter. That would be really bad if I forgot to reset the watt meter. But I did reset it because obviously I had to plug in the bike. Yeah, so how is that? 20 miles per hour and 100 miles. And you'll see this on the graph where I estimate the range. Right now with not right now, when I had the 160 watt option at 15 miles per hour, I was able to, it says I was able to go around 84 miles. And the battery, this is a 1.2 kilowatt, supposedly 1.2 kilowatt battery. Well, let's just say it's closer to, I estimated it to be just 1 kilowatt, so 1,000 watt hours, because of degradation, and also there's something wrong with this top battery, by the way. It's, there's definitely a bad cell in it somewhere, if not something else. So I really have to address that later. But let's just say it's, yeah, let's just say 20 miles per hour using this 240 watt charger. 20 miles per hour, 100 miles is what I'm hoping to get. And then on eventually when I get a 5 amp charger, let's just say for that one, 25 miles per hour, 80 miles range. no pedaling, obviously. So we'll see what happens in the results. I suspect that when I get the 5 amp charger, 25 miles per hour, 80 miles total range out of full battery, 1,000 watt hours. So 25 miles per hour is like 750 watts. So that means on 1,000 watt hours battery, just using the battery alone, I can go about an hour and then a third of an hour. So 1 hour and 20 minutes at 25 miles per hour. That's 25 plus 8, around 8, right? So that's 30. So that's like 32. Yeah, 33, 30, like 32, 34. So instead of 32 to 34, I want to get 85 on this system. Is that possible? Or do I have to go higher? And obviously the numbers at 20 would change with 400 watt charger. I probably can go like 150 miles, or from the full charge. And this is continuous riding, just like continuous riding as I'm doing now. It doesn't mean, this doesn't account for just stopping in traffic or just like relaxing somewhere or something like that. Speed up a little bit. Okay, so this is the last lap, and we will see what the actual consumption will be. But yeah, so I was thinking about what the actual goals of this e-bike was, and I mentioned in a couple other videos, in another video before too, what the actual goal might be. And I think that's the goal. I think using this option, we'll just call it regular charging, 240 watts. I want to go 100 miles continuous on 20 miles per hour, at 20 miles per hour. So that's like 5 hours of riding. That's, So we'll see what the results is at 15. So I'm doing the same test, charging up to 40 to 80 volts charging. So it's not really 80, it's probably 79.5 or 79.75 or something like that. And then trying to maintain, an average of 15, 20, 25. That 25 one is going to be fun. Because, yeah, that's 25 miles is not really that fast on a motorized bike, but this bike is heavy. It's heavy as hell. And also, maybe I'll talk about it later after I finish in my 20-mile run. But the expectations are different so as I mentioned before, this isn't quite an electric bike, and this isn't quite a gas motorized bike either. So the expectations are I like to meet most of the expectations of a motorized gas bike. And those bikes can go like 32, 35 top speed stock. Of course, you don't really want to go those speeds. Again, you kind of tax the motor quite a bit. But Alright, this is the last lap. And after this, I'm going to check the results, and I'm hoping they're in line with just a 50% increase in charging power. But we will see. We shall see. Alright, I'll talk to you guys after I start the 20. Sorry, maybe it's a little bit, the voltage difference might be a little bit weird. Oh, wow, I just did so I'm going to do the 20, speeding up to 20 now. So I just did the calculations for 15 miles per hour. And the numbers were insane. They're not insane, let me rephrase it. They're very good. Oh, come on, get up there. Right, 20. They were really, really good. So, using this charger, 240 watt charger, at 15 miles per hour, and I said I could get up to 186 miles of range. 186 miles of range from a full battery, and I was using 5 watt hours per mile. Think about that. That is crazy. That's crazy efficient. But my miles per gallon dropped from 344 miles per gallon before with the old 160 watt charger to like 277 or something like that. So I did get so obviously, you know, it's a bigger charger, so I'm getting a nick on the gas mileage. But 186 miles at 15 miles per hour. Jeez, that is touring. I can tour with that now, or anyone can tour with that. They'll have well enough, more than enough mileage to, or maybe not, maybe 186 is not super crazy in terms of miles. So yeah, I slowed down there a little bit because that's a curve. But that is nuts. That's a lot of, you know, if you're going on a tour, if you're doing some touring, that is super crazy. That's super good. I like that a lot. You know, you just think about it, you know, maybe you're retired or... Hey guys, so yeah, I cut off that one because it'll just be me just more riding at 20 miles per hour. So here are the results, and this is why I didn't go ahead and do the 25 mile per hour results. The results are pretty good, as I mentioned before. The 15 mile per hour, I'm getting 100, and if you look at the second to last column, the hybrid range, I'm getting 185 miles of range on a 1,000 watt hour battery. I think that's pretty darn good. The total cost for that is about 4 cents. This includes the gas cost and also the electricity costs. The hybrid miles per gallon is 229 gallons, or 229 miles per gallon, which I think is also pretty good. But I think the key thing here is just the range is 185. However, when I went 20 miles per hour, and this is probably, so if you take a look at the control, it has 44 to 35. I think something must have happened at that point. Either I got a really favorable winds or whatnot. I have no idea. I don't think that's correct. If you take a look at the generator, the 160 generator, 86 to 52. So that's probably more in line
and now 185 to 68. That's probably more in line with what it actually is. Because when you start hitting that 20 mile per hour mark, wind resistance does really do play quite a bit. Um, but anyway, maybe it was just bad that day. I don't know. But for 20 miles per hour, I get an estimated 68 miles hybrid range at 20 miles per hour using this 240 watt charger. Um, that's not that good. I was real after I saw the results for the 50 miles per hour. I was really hoping to get 100 miles range at 20 miles per hour using the 240 watt generator. And 20 miles per hour, that's like I think that's like 400 to 500 watts of power, right? And if you take a doubt so 400 to 500 watts of power, 1,000 watt battery. That's like let's just say 500 watts of power. 500 watts. That's 2 hours of riding, right? 2 hours of riding times 20. That's like 40 miles. Or sorry, yeah, that's 40 miles. So with the generator, it really should be. So if you take, so maybe I actually use a lot more power there than I expected, because at 500 watts, that should be I should really be getting 80 miles instead of 68 miles for that bottom number. But yeah, maybe it was just more windy that day or today than I expected, and that's sort of what's happened. But I'm just gonna take the results of currently as it is. So there's definitely a sweet spot in terms of the speed, wind resistance, the electric motor, and charging. So the next charger I'm going to get is the 5 amp charger, which is 420 watts of power. So that's that's a little less than double the 240 watt. I'm hoping with that 420 watt generator, 20 so with that okay, with that 420 watt generator, 220 100 miles at 20 or 100 miles at 20 miles per hour should be pretty straightforward. It should be a little more. It should be like 120, 130, maybe even 140. But what is the number going to be for 25 miles per hour with that 420 watt generator? I'm hoping it's like 80 to 100. Um, at that point, I think I will be satisfied with the setup. Uh, Again, you don't really want, so this is an 800 watt generator. You don't really want to run it at 800 watts. So 420 is basically half load. Uh, and I think that's enough. I really don't want to push it that much. Number one, because it will just be much more noisy. Now I still like to run it in eco mode as it is at the moment. So yeah, so that's the results, guys. I'm pretty happy with the 50 mile per hour. There's definitely some wind resistance that's going on. Or maybe I'm not, uh, maybe something too much wind today at 20 miles per hour. But hope you guys like it and subscribe, like or subscribe.